Everyone. Welcome to the video lecture series of Basic Electronics, module number 1, lecture number 1. Okay, Introduction to Semiconductor Devices. In that, we will focus more on the PN junction diode. Okay, so as we know, semiconductor plays a very important role in the field of electronics. We know the basic fundamentals of the physics. Okay, that we have basically the three things like we have a conductor, we have the insulator, and we have very most important is nothing but the semiconductor. Okay, so when we come to the introduction to the semiconductor devices, okay, now let us try to focus more on the title which I have written in this particular PPT. Okay, we will see about the PN junction diode later, but first we try to understand what do you mean by the word called the device and what do you mean by the semiconductor. Okay, and when you look at that particular word semiconductor, there are two things are there. Okay, one is semi, another is called as a conductor. Okay, now because we do have the three different types of elements, or the three parameters, or the three different type of the modes. Like one is conductor, okay, where the conductivity is completely very strong. Okay, it allows us the flow of charge, it allows us the flow of the electrons. Okay, now when you try to understand the whole physics part, okay, it starts with an atom. Okay, then we have the molecules. Okay, then we have the nucleus, then everything will be like something like it will be under its own structure. Okay, so therefore now when it comes to the conductivity, and when you take a conductor whose conductivity will be too large, okay, and when it comes to an insulator will not allow any flow of charges. But this semiconductor, it is neither completely the conductor nor the completely the insulator part, where its conductivity completely lies in between, right? So such type of devices will fall under the semiconductor devices. Okay, now what do you mean by the word called as a device? Okay, device is something where we try to have some kind of practical exposure, we try to have some practical analysis on that particular device. Okay, when we try to make use of the basic elements of electronics, the basic components, like we have the resistor, we have capacitor, okay, we have inductor, those things fall under the physics part, right? When we try to take some basic elements of the electronics and try to have some operational device, where by making use of that device we try to go for application part. Okay, such type of devices are called as semiconductor devices. Okay, in that we will more focus on the PN junction diode. Okay, now when you try to understand the semiconductor diodes and its application part, okay, in the previous video lecture in the yesterday's class, okay, I have focused more on the application part rather than the theoretical part. Okay, now please understand, whenever try to study any subject or any theory part, okay, our focus should be more on the practical analysis than the theoretical analysis. Okay, no doubt the values of the theoretical values will be completely different from practical. Okay, but we consider the practical values, not the theoretical values, because theoretically they may be perfect, but practically, because of some deviations, because of some error, because of some environmental changes, you may not get the proper results. Okay, so therefore we need to study the devices in such a way that it should lie within our performances. Okay, it should have an acceptable performance, and or you can say an acceptable efficiency and the quality of that particular analysis. Okay, now when it comes to the application part, for example, if I have a diode, okay, so what should I do with the diode? Okay, there should be something has to be done with the diode, right? Or else what happens is, like, you have designed a device and nobody is trying to purchase, or you are not making it into the market, right? So therefore, into the field of electronics and communication, or in the field of electronics, okay, this devices, like especially the semiconductor devices, plays a very important role. Okay, now when it comes to the semiconductor devices, okay, which type of material I should use? Okay, when you study the physics part, okay, we have the table, right? We have a periodic table. Okay, so if you look at the periodic table, there are different types of periodic. In the periodic table, there are different types of elements are available, right? So we have boron, we have germanium, we have silicon. Okay, we have a lot of elements are there, nearly about 108, right? So again, our whole the periodic table will be divided. Okay, whether they fall under the metalloids. Okay, they have metals, right? Now this semiconductor type of the material, how we try to choose it, okay, on what basis we should choose the semiconductor material will be more important. Okay, so therefore when it comes to the choosing of the semiconductor material with respect to the application part, okay, we have two different types of material. One is the silicon and another is nothing but the germanium. Okay, so why I should use this particular device, why I should go for the semiconductor materials? Okay, because one is the silicon and another is nothing but the germanium, right? Now the value of this particular silicon, when it comes to the saturation part, okay, we have a word called as a saturation, okay, where the conductivity of that particular material will start just in simple words. When you try to focus more on this, when you try to understand in terms of simple words, okay, so silicon has the value called as 0.7, right? 0.7, and the germanium has 0.3. 0.3 in terms of voltage, you can say it 0.3 and 0.7 volt. Okay, what do you mean by that 0.7 and what is that 0.3 volt? Okay, so based on the property of the material, based on the property of the device materials, okay, how it has been constructed, the particular values are being chosen, okay, while during the manufacturers, you can say, right? So when you try to take these two particular semiconductor materials, okay, these two are nothing but your semiconductor materials. Okay, one is nothing but the silicon and another is nothing but your germanium. Okay, these two are semiconductor materials. Okay, these two are semiconductor materials. Okay, now there is an option here that whether you should choose for a silicon or whether you should go for the germanium. Okay, now there is a small twist is that the cost of the germanium is more when you try to go and purchase than rather than for the silicon. Now from where you will get the silicon? Okay, so silicon is freely abundantly available in nature. Okay, when you just go and take the sand, okay, you can get the silicon. Okay, so we try to focus more on the silicon material than germanium material. But now if you look at this particular two materials here, okay, one is nothing but silicon and germanium, the voltage level or the saturation level. What do you mean by the saturation? I will just first focus more on the saturation point. Okay, for example, if you look at this particular graph, okay, so if I say this is my 0 volt, okay, so somewhere here I will just put it at 0.3 volt, okay, and here I will put it at 0.7. So the value when I start conducting by taking some semiconductor device or semiconductor parameter, okay, so 0.3 is more near than compared to 0.7, or in terms of time we can say the time taken by the germanium is less and the time taken by the silicon is more, right? But when you try to compare compare with the availability of the material here, the germanium will not be available easily, and even if it is available, the cost of the germanium is more. Here the cost efficiency here, so here the cost problem will come. Okay, the cost of this germanium will be more. But when you try to have the comparison with the silicon here, so the silicon is freely available, is completely free, no cost at all. Okay, and where it is available in sand. Okay, so if you have a sand, sand is nothing but you need not have to go here and there and search for the sand. Okay, you just dig the earth, the sand is available. When you just go outside your home and the roadside, the sand is available. So just take out that particular sand and try to process that sand, filter out the sand, remove all the unnecessary particles from the sand, then you will have the silicon. And the silicon has the saturation value of 0.7. So what do you mean by this is nothing but when I start to make use of this particular material, okay, so if you say that if I use a germanium, it will start like this. That is nothing but the characteristic curve of this of the germanium will be at 0.3. It means that at 0.3 your conduction will start. It means that if you have a diode which is made up of a germanium material, so the conduction will start at 0.3, not at 0, okay, not even at 0.2. It will conduct at 0.2, but the voltage is very small. Okay, the voltage level will be very small. Okay, now when you try to make use of the silicon material, okay, so it will start from 0 and it will be like this. So it will start at 0.7. Okay, so therefore, so choosing a material when it comes to the application part, or when it comes to the diode, our PN junction diode is normally made up of a silicon material, not of the germanium material. Okay, there are other diodes are also available into the market with the different material which is used for their construction. Okay, but based on the characteristics of the particular device material, we try to choose the silicon, not germanium. Okay, now again, when you go for choosing the silicon material and when you try to build up a PN junction diode, how actually now the PN junction diode will look. Okay, just look at this particular diode in figure number A. Okay, so there is a p-type material and there is n-type material. P is a pentavalent, and sorry, before going to that particular p-n junction diode here. Okay, so when you try to study the theory of physics, or when you try to study the complete conduction part, okay, or the electricity part, or the basic thing which is required here will be like, one thing is like, we have we have p-type and we have n-type materials. Okay, so the material p-type will be the majority carriers and the minority carriers will be studied first here. So here the majority carriers, okay, in the p-type material will be holes, and the minority carriers in p-type materials will be your electrons. Okay, but it is a reverse case when you try to take the n-type material. So the majority will be your electrons and the minority will be your holes. It means that the number of the holes in the p-type material, okay, will be positive. Okay, and the minorities are like very less minus electrons are available, and here the minuses are more and the pluses are less. Okay, and this is called as your anode and this is called your cathode, or you can write like this also. All right, so therefore here, before trying to study in detail about the diode, you should know the very basic minimum fundamental, okay, before analysis of the p-n junction diode. So always please remember, when you take as normal p-n junction diode, it has a two types. One is p-type material, another is the n-type material. This p-type material and this n-type material, they are electromechanically or electrochemically, they are joined. Okay, why it is called as a p-n junction diode, p and n junction diode? So this dark line, or this particular line in the middle here, it is nothing but your junction J. Okay, it is nothing but your junction. Okay, it has only one junction, so therefore it is just simply called as a p-n junction diode. Okay, so the construction of the diode need to be studied first before trying to study the whole characteristics of the particular diode. So therefore the diode, normal p-n junction diode, has the two terminal, one is anode, another is cathode. It has one junction. Okay, and it is been constructed by making use of the p material, where the majority charge carriers are hole and the minority carriers are electrons, and in n-type material the majority carriers are electrons and the minority carriers are nothing but holes. Okay, so this is how the basic p-n junction diode is been constructed. Okay, now this p-n junction diode has the ability to permit the sustainable current flow when forward bias. Now there is the two mode of operations will be there in the when you take any p-n junction diode. Okay, the mode of operation will be first like forward bias. Okay, one is forward bias, another is nothing but reverse bias. So two mode of operations are there when you try to take out the when you try to apply a battery across the diode. Okay, so either the diode can be operated under the forward bias and or it can be operated under the reverse bias. Okay, so when we say that the diode is forward bias, okay, so diode will be said to be in the forward bias if we apply the positive terminal. Okay, when we try to apply positive to or plus sign of the battery to p type, okay, and minus sign to n type, minus sign to n type. Okay, so when you try to take a p-n junction diode, okay, and when you try to apply a battery, okay, just if you like, if I say that this is my diode here, this is a symbol of diode. Okay, so if I say that the anode of the diode and this is the cathode of the diode, so if the anode of the diode is connected to the positive of the battery, okay, and the minus sign is connected to the cathode of the battery of the diode, okay, then your diode is said to be under the forward bias. So the flow of charge or the flow of current will be in this particular direction. Okay, so from anode to cathode. So when I apply a battery, okay, so plus to anode and minus to cathode, a flow of current, this particular flow of current will make your diode to be operated under forward bias. Okay, now similarly, when you try to change the polarity of the battery or when you try to change the polarity of this diode, okay, or the conduction of the diode will be operated under the reverse bias. Now what happens here in this particular reverse bias here is the diode here, the minus is connected to the p type, okay, and the positive sign is connected to n type, is connected to n type. So this is how the reverse bias will work out. So there are two things which where we will focus more here. Okay, so one is the p type, another is nothing but the n type. Now here again, when you try to look out the terminals, okay, of the particular diode, how the terminals will look out here is, here you can see plus is positive terminal for forward bias and this is cathode, anode. The arrow mark will show the indication how the actual amount of current will particularly flow. Okay, now here again you can see the how the diode is being connected. Okay, when it is forward bias, the resistance which is offered by the circuit or by the flow of charge or by the particularly whole circuit operation will be very low. Okay, because of the low resistance itself, your flow of current will be high, because the Ohm's law states that what actually the Ohm's law states. Okay, I is equal to V by R. If the resistance is very low, the flow of current will be very large. Okay, or the flow of current will be more sufficient, which is required for the particular. So the resistance will short circuit. Okay, so what do you mean by the resistance will the resistance, if it is low, the path will be get short circuited. Okay, for example, if I just try to draw this particular again the figure here. Okay, so if this is my diode here, okay, so if I say that diode and this is what the battery which I apply here, so this is the positive and this is my minus is nothing but the negative. Okay, so if this is plus and if this is minus, okay, so the flow of current will be in this particular direction. So when the diode is under the forward bias, okay, when the diode is under the forward bias, this diode will be acting or the path between this diode will be short circuited. Why it is short circuited? Because the resistance is low. The resistance is low. So please remember, we know the formula of the Ohm's law. The Ohm's law states that I is equal to V divided by R. So if the resistance is low, the flow of charge will be more. Okay, so because of this property, because of this mechanism here, okay, as the resistance is low, the path between this or the diode will be acting as a short circuit. Okay, so because of this short circuit, the amount of current or the charge which we have applied with this particular battery, okay, it will flow through the whole circuit diagram, making it short circuit, and hence your diode will be operated successfully. And in the other words, you can simply say that the diode is conducting. Okay, the diode is conducting. So this is how we try to focus more on how actually the devices are being operated. Okay, now there is another operation here, how this particular diode will be operated. Okay, that is nothing but the case number 2. Now what the case number 2 says here is, the case number 2 will be considered for the reverse bias. Okay, so diode will be conducted under the reverse bias. Okay, only when you try to change the polarity of the diode, either you can change the polarity of the diode, okay, or simply you can try to change the polarity of the battery also. Okay, so all the possibilities are possible, both the possibilities are possible. Okay, so when you try to change the polarity of the battery over here, okay, so how actually the diode will operate here. Okay, now just look at this particular figure here. Okay, so when you look at this figure here, I have changed the polarity of the diode. I have not changed the polarity of the battery. I've just kept the battery as it is. Okay, then I've changed the polarity of the diode itself. It means that if I say the battery is positive and this battery is negative, polarity of the battery is negative, and this becomes my cathode and this becomes my anode. Okay, so if the minus is connected to anode and positive is connected to cathode, then the diode is said to be reverse bias. Now under the reverse bias, your resistance of that particular circuit will be too large. Okay, so the another equivalent diagram for this particular circuit diagram of the reverse bias will be like this. Okay, so if this is plus, if this is minus, if I say that this is the cathode and if this is anode, so when I try to apply the amount of charge, okay, then you can see that as the resistance which says that I is equal to V divided by R. Okay, so if this operation where when you are trying to make your diode as a reverse bias, it is nothing but it is an open circuit. It is just like this. The switch is completely open. When the switch is open, the resistance offered by that particular circuit will be large and the amount of current will be low. So therefore, no amount of charge whichever I applied here will flow through the diode, and hence your diode is said to be off. Your diode is said to be off. So therefore, under the forward bias condition of that particular diode, okay, so forward bias is nothing but your diode is on, and when it comes to the reverse bias, your diode is said to be your diode is off. Your diode is off. This is how the whole flow of operation of your diode will work out. Okay, so make sure that please try to understand the basic fundamentals of the whole diode operation. Okay, only the two things are more required. One is the forward bias and another will be the reverse bias. Okay, now when it comes to the application part, I will try to let you know how the diode can be used for the application oriented devices, where the focus more will be how the actual operation of the diode will be practically conducted. Okay, so with this I will conclude the today's video lecture of PN junction diode. So tomorrow we will try to see about what will be the VI characteristics of the diode. With this I conclude today's class. Thank you.